very night, like clockwork, you slip away from this world, not with footsteps, not through doors, but through something more ancient than time itself, sleep. A gentle darkness folds over you, your breath slows, and the world you know fades, giving way to one you barely understand. In this other world, time bends, rules dissolve, you can fly, you can die, you can become someone else entirely. But have you ever asked, where do you go when you sleep? Science has a name for it: REM sleep. Neurologists speak of cycles, stages, waves of the brain. But across cultures, continents, and centuries, others have spoken of something far more mysterious. The ancient Egyptians believed in the Ba, the soul bird, which leaves the body each night to commune with the gods. The Upanishads of India taught that in sleep, the soul touches Brahman, the source of all that is. Indigenous shamans journey through dreams to heal, to receive prophecy, to speak with spirits in the lands beyond. And mystery schools hidden across time whispered the same forbidden truth. Your body sleeps. Your consciousness does not. It travels, beyond the veil, beyond the mind, into dimensions layered atop this one, seen only by the silent traveler who rides the breath of sleep. But these ideas, these truths, were buried, hidden beneath centuries of skepticism, dogma, and control. Because if you knew what truly happens when you sleep, you'd never see reality the same way again. In this video, we unravel the layers. We dive into sacred texts once banned, explore near-death accounts, astral testimonies, and modern quantum riddles, and reveal why the hours you spend asleep might be the most spiritually active moments of your life. So get ready. You've taken this journey 1,000 times, but tonight, for the first time, you'll remember. This is the path of the unseen traveler, and it begins the moment you close your eyes. Let's begin with the greatest enigma humanity has ever faced. The question that has baffled scientists, philosophers, and mystics for millennia. What is consciousness? Is it merely a byproduct of chemical reactions, neurons firing like sparks in a machine, electrical impulses traveling across synapses weaving the fabric of thought? Or is it something more, something intangible, ethereal, and elusive? What if consciousness is not confined to the brain? What if it is not something created by the brain, but rather something the brain tunes into? Some modern scientists are beginning to entertain a radical theory that consciousness doesn't originate within us at all. Instead, the brain might function like a receiver, picking up signals from a vast, unseen ocean of awareness. Much like a radio catches invisible waves of sound, the brain could be attuned to frequencies that exist beyond the physical realm. These signals might transcend space and time, carrying the very essence of our being across dimensions we can barely comprehend. Think of it. If consciousness is simply a frequency, then in theory, you could tune into it at any point from any place and connect with something far greater than your physical self. This idea is nothing new. In fact, it echoes ancient wisdom. For thousands of years, mystics, sages, and seers have spoken of an awareness far beyond the confines of the mind. They called it the inner eye, the seat of the soul, a gateway between the material and the divine, where the soul could transcend its earthly limitations. The ancient Egyptians believed that consciousness was like a bird, free to leave the body and soar across the cosmos. In India, the yogis spoke of a higher consciousness, transcendent and pure, which could be accessed through deep meditation and inner stillness. Yet, modern neuroscience, despite decades of research, has not pinpointed a definitive center of consciousness within the brain. The deeper we dig, the more it eludes us, like sand slipping through our fingers. Why is that? Could it be that consciousness is not something inside of us, but something much larger, beyond the grasp of our material senses? What if the true nature of who we are is not contained within the skull? What if we are not separate from the universe, but a part of it? The soul, the essence, the energy that defines us might not be something measurable, something we can physically locate. Instead, it could be an energy, a field of awareness, so vast and so profound that we can only experience it. We often forget that we are not bound by the limits of the body. Our awareness, our consciousness is boundless. And so, when you fall asleep, that same awareness begins to move, to travel, to expand. What if sleep is not a void, but a bridge, where your consciousness slips away from the confines of the body and enters an eternal realm of discovery? Perhaps, when you sleep, your soul is returning to a vast ocean of wisdom, remembering truths hidden in the deepest recesses of time. And what if, just maybe, sleep is the moment when you begin to remember what your waking mind has long forgotten? Thousands around the world, ordinary people, doctors, scientists, monks, have reported a phenomenon that defies logic: the sensation of leaving the body and still being completely aware. It can happen during deep meditation, near-death experiences, or moments of extreme emotion. Some say it's triggered during sleep, especially in the lucid dream state, when the mind wakes up, but the body does not. In this state, they report floating above their own bodies, seeing everything in the room, even moving through walls. Some enter vast realms filled with colors they've never seen, hear music unlike any sound on Earth, and encounter beings made entirely of light. They describe a silver cord, an energy tether connecting their spirit to their body. As long as the cord remains, they are safe. But if it breaks, they never return. These are not just spiritual myths. Institutions like the Monroe Institute have studied this for decades, mapping these out-of-body states with consistency across cultures. The Tibetan Book of the Dead even describes the bardo, an intermediate state between life and rebirth. Could it be that during sleep, we unconsciously enter this same realm, and that the so-called dream world is actually a vast shared dimension known to mystics as the astral plane? If so, every night becomes more than rest. It becomes a journey of the soul, one we take without even knowing it. Even today, with all our technology and research, science still stands in the shadow of one of humanity's greatest mysteries: consciousness. We can measure brain activity, map neural connections, and watch as areas light up during sleep. But we still don't know why we're aware, or where you go when the lights go out. Some cutting-edge theories suggest that consciousness might not be bound by classical physics at all, but by quantum processes, interactions so small they defy space and time. The brain, in this view, isn't just a biological machine, it's a quantum antenna. And right at the center of it is something strange: the pineal gland, a tiny pine cone-shaped organ buried deep in the brain. Active during dreams, it's linked to circadian rhythms, spiritual experiences, and something else. It contains receptors for DMT, a compound some call the spirit molecule. Naturally released during deep sleep, near-death states, and extreme mystical experiences, DMT opens doors to realms most never remember. The ancient Egyptians depicted the Eye of Horus in the same shape as the pineal gland. In Hinduism, it's the Ajna chakra, the third eye. Could this be the portal they spoke of? A doorway between the waking world and the unseen? One that opens each night? As your mind drifts into the void, and your consciousness, untethered, begins to roam. Why do some dreams feel more real than reality itself? Why do they leave you shaken, haunted, or deeply moved long after you wake? Some dream of people they've never met and recognize them years later. Others visit cities they've never been to and then stumble upon them in waking life. Coincidence or memory? There are countless reports of people dreaming in ancient languages they don't consciously know, or recalling events they never experienced, at least not in this lifetime. Could these be fragments of past lives resurfacing through the cracks of sleep? Or are we tapping into parallel timelines, alternate versions of ourselves, living out different fates in different realms? Quantum physics suggests all possibilities exist at once. Every decision you've ever made could exist in its own universe. And perhaps, when you sleep, your consciousness slides between these timelines, a cosmic traveler moving beyond time, body, and memory. In Tibetan Buddhism, it is taught that dreams are part of a subtle reality, closer to truth than waking life. The dream state is seen as training for death and ultimately for liberation. So what if the dream world isn't an illusion, but a glimpse into your truest spiritual nature? A place where your soul is not limited by flesh or fear or time. A place where you remember who you were, who you are, and who you are yet to become. Every night, while the world falls silent, something extraordinary may be happening. As your body rests, your consciousness might be traveling through ancient corridors of memory, into parallel lives, across dimensions that defy space and time. You may be healing wounds you no longer remember, learning lessons your waking self has yet to understand, meeting guides, ancestors, and perhaps even your future self. What we call a dream might be a code, a message, a mission, or maybe a reunion with who you truly are beyond the veil. The ancients knew, the mystics whispered, the scientists now wonder. Sleep is not the absence of awareness. It is the portal to something far deeper. So the next time you drift into the darkness, don't ask, "What will I dream?" Ask instead, "Where will my soul go tonight? And when it returns, what truths will I bring back into this world of form and forgetfulness?" Because maybe, just maybe, the greatest journeys you'll ever take happen while your eyes are closed. If something stirred deep within you tonight, if a part of you remembered something you can't quite name, hit that subscribe button and join us as we explore the mysteries they never taught you in school. Share your most vivid, unexplainable dream in the comments below. You never know who else might have seen the same world. And remember, sleep isn't the end of your day. It's the beginning of your soul's journey into the unknown. Until next time, dream deeper.